Hello everyone, this is In-Game Art, doing an unboxing, another offline gaming experience. This is Darkwood for the PlayStation 4. Now the on-disc version is 1.06, and there were no updates available since the making of this video. Now please keep in mind, this physical copy was produced by LimitedRunGames, so getting a copy will not be the easiest. Now, this is a game I've been holding off for a long time, and I've seen it on Steam several times, and I wanted to get it so many times, but I really wanted a physical copy of this game. So, I had to break my promise, and I had to play this game when I finally got it from Limit Run. Now, going into the Darkwood, it is strongly a PC port over console, so there is some glaring flaws. One of the biggest glaring flaws is a lot of the UI and the font in the game is really small. It's badly small, to be more specific. If you are close to your television or at your monitor or whatever, it's not that big of a deal. But if you are generally sitting back further, like on your couch or something like that, and playing at a distance, the small font and the small UI can be very frustrating. I really wish they would have spent a little bit more time in focusing on that department if you're going to be transferring a game over to console. But that's one of the really biggest glaring flaws to this physical game. The game is a survival horror kind of aspect where it's a top-down. Now, I will bluntly tell you, Darkwood is probably the best horror aspect of a video game I have ever played. Not the terms of best games or the best mechanics or just one of the best survival horror games, but they utilized the horror aspect so well, and they made sure that there was literally next to no jump scares to the game. There is some minor ones here and there, but nothing like a loud bang or loud boom just to make you startle. Anybody's going to jump up to that, or something flashing right in front of your face. It's all subtle, it's all environmental, it's all just very uneasy and unsettling. Best way I can describe it is like an open world kind of survival-esque Silent Hill, and that's phenomenal. The game has a very eerie environment, very dark environments, just the story, the characters and everything like that. It's just dripping with just horror, and I love it. And that's one of the best things about it. And I hate to draw the comparisons of the Silent Hill as well as mechanically of Resident Evil, but that's what I really loved about it. I loved utilizing the inventory space, deciding what best items to take with me and what best items to leave in your storage. It was just a lot of fun. Now, please keep in mind, Darkwood is not an easy game. It's actually a pretty challenging game. It takes some time to get a hang of the mechanics, but when you do, you start understanding it and get a better hang of it, because there's a lot of weight to the character, which I have nothing against this, but some people might get frustrated with that. One of the biggest glaring problems, I guess, in terms of mechanical-wise, is the dodge function in the game. You click in your L3 joystick, and all the character does is jump backwards. This is not very useful in many cases, as most enemies charge right at you. So, I mean, it's like, all I'm going to be is jumping further away from them just to hit me again. So, the dodging mechanic is not the most best in the game. As well as that, this is one of the bigger glaring flaws, not in terms of mechanical or game-wise. It's just that the game has some safes in the game where it's got a lock code and a 4-digit code for every single one of them. And there are some in the game that are impossible to know the code. Only one of them is a preset code, and every other one is randomly generated, as well as the environment is randomly generated. Why this is a problem is none of these codes can be found in the environment. You just have to brute force it, or look online for one of the few that are preset, or, for the PC version, go access the local files of your save file to find the code of that specific chest. I have to say this is very disappointing, and I have to really dog on the developers for putting chests and lock codes and so forth in the game that you cannot discover the code, regardless if it's an Indiegogo fundraiser code or just some random chest they put in the game. Now, I have a real big problem with this, because now it makes it very hard to be a completionist with the game. But other than that, the game worked pretty good for me. The game does have a slight stutter effect. It's very random and very inconsistent. It mostly does it when it's about to trigger a sound event, like stepping on a branch and a branch makes a sound. The game will stutter before it makes that sound effect. It's very subtle and it's very random. It actually gets less happening when you get further in the game. As well as that, I can't feel like near the end of the game they kind of rushed it and just try to hurry up and finish it off, because I don't know how the terms of production wise went with the game. It just feels like they were probably losing momentum and budget and so forth. It felt like they rushed it at the second chapter. But I know it sounded like I was saying a lot of bad things about the game, but please try to ignore that. There is flaws, and it's important to point these out, but I still love the game. I still was ready to go right back into it after I beat it, see other choices I could have made, see different endings and so forth. And the game is just packed with content. I love the environments and the gameplay. It's all very challenging, and just the feeling of just constant threat. Every battle, even if it's just a basic enemy, feels like a fight to the death. Now, the game does have 3 difficulties: normal, hard, and nightmare. Normal difficulty, you can die as many times as you want. Hard difficulty, you have a set amount of extra guys, and nightmare is the natural one-time die, complete game over, have to start over. This is fine, but on normal difficulty, this is a little disappointing that you have unlimited deaths and there's no real consequences other than you dropping your package or some of your items at your death point and you gotta go pick it back up. Why this is a problem: at nighttime you have to stay secured in your house. I found that it's actually better to let yourself die at nighttime, so it allows you to progress through the night quicker and not use up any of your gasoline or resources. So normal mode can be really just seen as story mode because you can just exploit that function in the game, but I recommend not doing that and try to survive. It makes the game a lot more funner if you're not a fan of the chance of a permanent death, because I can guarantee you, if you're trying to fight it all through the night, you're going to die a few times. But other than that, I cannot tell you how much I've loved this game. I'm ready. I really loved it. I hope the developers can make a sequel or another spiritual successor to the game. A little bit more user-friendly for console as well. And just, I don't know, make it a little bit more polished. I didn't like the stuttering and, like I said, the lower font and so forth. It's just very frustrating in that point. And, of course, the safes not having actual codes around the environment. That's very, very aggravating and very poorly done by the developers. But in my personal opinion, Darkwood was a phenomenal game, and I cannot highly recommend it anymore. If you're a fan of like Silent Hill environment and atmosphere, but you also like Resident Evil's resource and management, if you also like base building where you build up your base and protect it from a strong attack of hordes of enemies, it's right up your alley. And as well, if you love challenging and punishing games, but fair, they're not like unfair deaths. It's all usually your fault when you die. Again, I highly recommend it. Sadly, it is a limited run physical copy, so getting a copy will not be the easiest, but I do recommend either looking into the Steam version or digitally downloading to your console or looking for a physical copy. It's well worth it to be in your collection. Now, some of you might ask, since I did promise to be only playing PS4 games on PS5, I will play this game again when I get a PS5, just because I love the game so much. I'll gladly play it all over again on PS5. And since PS5 is looking to be more and more difficult to get a console, and honestly, I'm not trying too hard because I'm not too eager right now, I feel like it's better just to wait. I will probably do a few more PS4 unboxings, like collector's editions or Game of the Year editions of games and so forth, or games that I'm really looking forward to play on PS4, but I do promise to play those games again on PlayStation 5 and maybe provide a video for that PS5 experience or provide it in the description of that game in the video. Haven't decided yet, but nonetheless, I'm sorry that I have not been able to get a PS5 and cover PS4 games on it, but I will. I promise I will get to that at some point whenever I can get one. So, like always, I try to leave links down in the description if you're interested in a copy. Again, I recommend it. It's a fun game. It does have its flaws. It's important to point those out, and hopefully they do better in the next time, but it's well worth it being in your collection. I'm really glad to have a physical copy of this, and I'm glad I held off because I was not disappointed with my experience of this game. Phenomenal. It's probably one of my most favorite survival horror games I have on PS4. I still say Alien Isolation is my #1 all-time most favorite, but Darkwood is really up there, even surpassing like Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. But regardless of that, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye-bye!